Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I was down in the shop and needed to do some finishing work, so I figured it'd be a good time to make a video on poly and how I do my poly and how I prepare the surface to apply the poly, the way I apply the poly. I post on a lot of online groups, wood turning groups, social media groups, wood turning connection, grit and sheen, wood turners around the globe. And the biggest question that I get asked is, how do I get my finish? It's really easy. It's wipe on poly out of a can. Literally, you just wipe it on. The main thing is the time that it takes to put into it and the patience. It's not a quick finish. It takes 2 to 3 hours between coats to dry, and it takes anywhere between 4 to 6 coats, sometimes more. Here's one that I did last week and posted. If you can see it, poly is my preferred preference for anything decorative. I mean, you really just can't beat the shine. There may be things out there that can give you the same shine, but I haven't came across them. Something that's easy to use also. You really need 3 things, and that's all. Wipe on poly, of course. I use 00 steel wool, tacked cloth, and a paper towel to apply it. So I will show you how I do it. This right here is a little birch bowl, pedestal bowl, candy dish, whatever you want to call it. It has 1 coat already on it. I put it on last night. It's dried overnight. It doesn't have to dry that long, like I said. It only takes about 3 hours between coats to dry. Less in the beginning when the wood soaks it up and it's really soaking it in. So basically I just put it on a white paper towel, folded up piece of paper towel. Make sure you shake it well each time you use, which is different from regular poly. I know brush on poly you're not supposed to shake, but with wipe on poly you do need to shake it really well. Paper towel, rub it on, good coat, let it set. This would be the second coat. It's birch. Birch usually takes it really well. It usually only takes 4 coats or so for birch. But I'm going to go ahead and apply the second coat right now. So I will get first, the first thing I do, sorry if this is loud, hopefully it won't be. There's no music playing, so it's probably boring because I keep getting dinged on YouTube for copyright and stuff. But steel wool, I apply it with the lathe on and the lathe running. I buff it in between coats with the lathe on and the lathe running. So I'll do that now. Make sure you're careful and watch with anything, of course, anytime you're using any type of machinery, but don't get your hands too close to the chuck. But also the steel wool, be aware of the steel wool. I do not do the bottoms. I flip it around in a cold jaws to finish the bottom later after the rest is complete. But be really aware not to get the steel wool caught in the chuck. So turn it on. I don't know the exact speed that it's at. My lathe doesn't have speed readout. I'm guessing probably around maybe 200 RPMs. But buff it out real good. Steel wool. Make sure you get all the nooks and crannies. That's it. Tack cloth. This is not the best example, but I am out of it. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's literally just a cloth that's got some sort of wax coating on it. You can pick it up at any hardware store, big box store. They usually sell it back by the sanding stuff. And it's got a slight wax coating on it. And what it does is it's a dust remover. It picks up the dust. I don't use compressed air because I don't like to get it all in the air and have it settle down later into the poly. So I use the tack cloth. Also, same thing with the steel wool. Be careful that you don't get it too close to the chuck because it will grab it and rip it right out of your hands, and hopefully not rip your hand into it. But So steer way away from the chuck. I do the same thing just like steel wool. After I've steel wooled it, hit it with tack cloth real quick. Make sure you get all the edges under the rims. Okay. Then on to the poly. Like I said earlier, shake well, really well. For those of you who don't know, if you see me struggle, I am one-handed. Everything I make I do completely one-handed. I lost my arm in a automobile accident 7 years ago, so if you see me fumbling, that's why. But folded a piece of paper towel. All I do is I shake it, and you don't need a ton. Like, there's a little bit, want a little more than that, but it don't need to be saturated. Later on, the more coats you have on there, the less you need, but decent amount like that. Do all the cracks and crevices first to make sure you get those real well. A little too much there. Under the rim. Okay. Then I go back to all the tighter areas first, obviously, so you're not bumping it with your fingers as you're applying it. You just want to rub it in. Nice, smooth, light coat. And with anything like this, you just want to try to keep a wet edge so it doesn't start to dry and it doesn't streak. You can't over rub it in. I shouldn't say that. You can, but only if it starts to dry and you're wiping over the dry stuff. As long as it stays wet, you can't over rub it. And it will soak in some spots and not others, but it will build eventually where it all soaks in evenly as the coats go on. Try to do it to where it's nice and smooth. You don't see your start and stop line, so it's blended in real well. Alright, that's literally all there is to it. It's a nice, smooth, light coat. It will soak in some spots and not others. If that gets real bad, depending on what the timber is, and it's still doing it after, the third or fourth coat, sometimes I will go back and sand it back to 400. 400 is all I sand to. I go through the grits. Even for the first coat, I only sand to 400 is all I've ever needed to go to. But like I was saying, if it is going on uneven, I will occasionally resand it back, like on the third coat or so. to 400 grit, put a light coat on, and then go back through the process again and do another coat, and then usually it's good by that. And it goes on a lot even more evenly, but that's all there is. If you have any questions, feel free to comment on the video, comment on my YouTube page, subscribe to my YouTube page. It's a newer page, so most of you watching this are probably new to my page, but subscribe if there's anything in the future that you're curious about or want to see me do. I have no problem asking questions, or answering questions, I should say. Yeah, subscribe, and I will post this when it's finished, the finished outcome, in the comments. And I'll show you the inside real quick. It's a really pretty piece of birch, but that's all there is to it.